we're here to share a God moment with our church. For those who don't know us, we're the Kiefers. We come to the early service. So this God moment happened on Mother's Day. And John keeps on sharing this God moment with his family, saying it's his God moment. But I call it my God moment. But okay, so we went along with it being our God moment. So on Mother's Day last week, we decided to go to a church out on Route 22 where our niece goes, and they have a service on the roof. And we thought that was pretty interesting. So we were heading there, and those who know the Kiefers, they're never on time. So it was like, we need to give ourselves enough time to get there because it's going to be crowded. It's Mother's Day. So it was at 9:30. We left a little before 9, and we head down. We live in Plum, so we were heading down Center Hill past Center Elementary School, and John saw a vehicle with a young lady standing outside of the car with two young kids. And John said, "We have to stop. We have to stop." And I said, "Yes, we do, but watch the time." And so he goes, and the lady has a flat tire. So she had already had the what do you call those?
The bolts.
The bolts off of the tire.
The bolts are off.
And she just needed some assistance. So I stay in the car. So John goes over and helps her, and he's wrenching it, and it's
With the scissor jack.
just wasn't coming. And I'm sitting in the car, and I'm looking in my mirror, and I'm looking at him. The next thing I see him kicking the tire. I thought, this isn't good. This is not going to work out. This is not good. So he continued to be over there. He continued to be over there, wrenching and kicking. And so then I see him coming back to our car to get something else.
I came back to get a bigger crowbar to try to pry this tire off because it had spoke wheels. They were fancy wheels. I didn't want to damage them, but by kicking the tire on the north, south, east, west sides of the rim, it was not breaking loose from the bolts. So I was using her little pry bar that wasn't doing anything. So I figured by going back to the car, I will get the bigger one to give a little more leverage to try to break these this rim loose from the lug nuts.
So when he did that, he came back to the car, he said, "This is not looking good, honey. This is going to take longer than I thought." I said, "Oh boy." So he goes back to the car.
I get back to the car, and it's just not going. And I look at the young woman who she had her niece and nephew who were roughly 8 and 4, and they were going to a mother's brunch.
Mother's Day brunch.
And so I told her, I said, "Do you have AAA?" Because I didn't want to miss this church service. And she looked at me and she said, "No, I don't." And so I was getting more desperate because I wanted to get there. And so I started praying while I was on my knees, but I'm continuing prying and hitting this rim, and it's not going anywhere.
So while John was still doing that and really trying to shove it, I said, "Lord, we got to pray. I have to pray. Lord, please give John the wisdom to get this tire off and just let this young lady get on her way. Please, Lord, help us." And as soon as I finished my prayer, I heard John saying, "I got it. It's off." And so we were so excited about that, of course. And he didn't know that I was praying at the same time he was doing that. And I of course, didn't know he was praying, although John prays all the time. So he said, "That's it, we got it." So he gets back into the car. The lady's fine. She goes on her way. We get back in the car. And I said, "John, again, it's like, took a little bit longer than we thought it was going to take." And we pull out of the parking area, and we go down at Pearson Road, going through Boyce Park. Well, if you've gone through Boyce Park, you know it's only 25 miles an hour that you're allowed to go through there. And John tends to put the pedal to the metal. And I said, John, you gotta watch. If you get pulled over, we're gonna be even later. If a deer pops out, we're gonna be even later. And so, you know, we got out onto 22 and Route 22, and we're approaching the church, and it's really packed. That parking lot's packed. By then, it's probably about 20 to 10. We're only about 10 minutes late. And we could hear the music playing. And so we pull into the parking lot, and they're waving us and waving us to come in. And we can see the band up on the roof, and the guy says to John, come on. He said, can you back up good? And John says, yeah, I can back up pretty well. And he backed up into this spot, and it was the best parking spot in the lot. We were in the front row. And also, to add to that, it's, as I said, it was Mother's Day, and they were giving out chocolates to the mothers and a little jewelry set. And Mother's Day, presents, and on top of that, it was my birthday. So it was really a godly day.
And she got some donuts.
And some donuts. But I wanted to say, as far as us praying and us not knowing that we were praying, and in Matthew 18, verse 20, it's, for where 2 or 3 gather in my name, there am I with them. And we felt God was there with us. So that's our God moment, not just mine. Thanks.